Welcome to the Greg Hudson Show, Episode 1. Don't go anywhere. It's going to be good.
This is the Greg Hudson Show.
All right, welcome back into the Greg Hudson Show. Jonathan Ellerbe here, and Coach Hudson, man, what an exciting day. Episode 1. Tell us about it. How you feeling?
A little nervous, I'm not going to lie to you. This is new territory for me. I'm excited about it. Thought about this a lot. I've had people tell me, you have a face for radio, you should go on there, do a podcast, you have a message, and luckily, you've given me the chance to do that, and it's a great opportunity, and hopefully we can have some fun and maybe help some people out.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun having you on the radio, Pirate Radio Live, each week, and we were kind of talking, and when you said people were telling you need a podcast, how many times have you heard that?
A lot. I mean, usually when it's just in conversation, maybe it's my voice or maybe it's my background, but it's something that's come up, and I've listened to it enough that I probably should follow up on it. So that's what we're doing.
Cool thing with a podcast, and we'll be running it on Pirate Radio as well as on our digital channels. But what do you hope to get out of the Greg Hudson Show, the Greg Hudson podcast? What do you want to get out of this?
Well, I think it's twofold. I like the sports theme to sort of be out front, and that would be probably the arena that most of the guests would come from. But with what I've gone through in my life and being in athletics and being around young people as many years as I have, we're going to have a mental health backstory to everything and every guest. And hopefully somebody listening out there can get something good out of it. You know, I live a life of recovery. I'm out front of it. And the best thing I can do is help somebody else. That's the number one thing I can do.
And mental health. Expand upon that some more. I know we've talked off the air in the office and other areas of your teammates and people that you deal with, and everybody deals with mental health. I mean, it's just as much as your physical health of being mental health. Why now? Why do you want to share your story and the stories of others?
One, because I lived it, and until you've gone through digging yourself out of the bottom and trying to find the right road, you really learn that there's a lot of things that sort of calculate and pile up in your life, and if you don't get rid of them, if you don't get them out, if you don't talk about them, they're just going to manifest inside you, and it's going to lead to something that's not very good. And I went through that, and I'm on the other side of it, and I think we can get a message out that there is hope, there's a way to stay connected, there's people that care about you, and everything that you do is important, and you need to realize that. And that's going to be the message of the podcast.
One of my favorite quotes is, on the other side of temporary pain, if you get through the temporary, you'll meet your other self, which is like, don't quit during the temporary times. And that probably has a lot of approach with mental health. What are some of the successes that you've seen of getting through to the other side?
That's a good point. In recovery, there's one line that's very similar to that. It's don't stop until the miracle happens. And if you can do that, if you can persevere, if you can stay connected and keep doing the work and keep surrendering, and then have a relationship with your higher power or God or whatever your choice is, you have a chance to come out on the other side, and then you have a chance to really live a different life that you didn't know existed. I've been fortunate because of football and sports. It's taken me to some of the best places in the country to go. You can be around some of the best people, but sometimes you could still be the loneliest person in the room, and you don't realize it until sometimes it's too late. So if we get on the air and we put a message out there, if somebody hears it and it turns them around or gives them a chance to get better, then we're doing something good.
Absolutely. I mean, we've never met anybody that everybody struggles in life, and you got to overcome those struggles, and the best way to overcome them is for people to help you. Right. And I know that's going to be a big part of this podcast, of going deeper into your story, but also the story of the big Rolodex you have.
Yeah, we'll see if they answer. But there are some good people in there, and there are a lot of people in there that have a message. I think everybody has a message, just based on the experience they have in their life. And You know, it's fun to sit around and talk ball and talk about sports, but it's also important to look at the other side of maybe what's going on in that athlete's life or that student athlete's life, or that person that just seems like the happiest person in the world, and deep down they're struggling inside. You look at what happened in the PGA recently. Here's a young man that's made the turn and is sort of living the life that everybody sees on TV. But then when the lights are off and the fans disappear, it gets really dark, and then bad things can happen. And that's where the term "stay connected" is very important. And this is another chance, another tool, so to speak, to stay connected with more people that are out there. Hopefully, as an audience grows with the podcast.
Got a ton of experiences, ton of perspective now. What would Greg Hudson today tell Greg Hudson, the defensive coordinator, when he rolled into Greenville, North Carolina for the first time? What kind of advice would you give a younger Greg Hudson now with the perspective and where you are in life?
Maybe to slow down a little bit. Slow down, enjoy the journey more. Don't focus too much on what's possible down the road. Living in the moment. And ironically, now in my life at 57 years old, that's the life I'm living now. It's in the moment, it's day by day. And that's easy to say when you're 57, and that's something you probably don't want to hear when I was 37. But I would come back here and really just embrace every single day with some of the great people that are around here in Greenville, and the people I met at East Carolina, and the wonderful people I got to work with, and the fantastic, awesome players I got to spend every day with. And those are the ones that I've learned over 30 years out there coaching around those kids, is there's a lot of struggle going on with our youth and in society today. And the student athletes they're under a lot of pressure. And, I have a master's in education and counseling, and I might have used that more than I used my wisdom in coaching X's and O's. And sometimes I felt like I needed a couch instead of a chair in my office, when the players walked in, because there's problems every day and everybody goes through them. It's just how you react to them.
A lot of problems, but a lot of fun stories, a lot of successes, and that'll be maybe some of the things we'll share on the podcast as well.
That's been one of the neat things about coming back here to Greenville, is you realize, one, how good you had it, how much fun you were having. And you turn around and you look and you say, we were pretty good. We won a lot of football games. We had a lot of good times. The fans appreciated. We wanted to put a good product out there on the field that the fans of the Pirate Nation were proud of. And, Skip was the ultimate leader, and he had those guys individually. He reached every single person on that roster and in that organization. And the number one thing that comes out when you talk to all the guys is, man, we had a lot of fun. And then we should have realized that we should have embraced it a little more and taken it day by day and been happy about what we had.
We'll dive in more to those stories, get a ton of guests. This is episode 1, Jonathan Ellerbe, Greg Hudson on the Greg Hudson podcast. Now, speaking of future episodes, I've run down the list of names of who you're going to reach out to. As you said at the very beginning, hey, look, will they answer? Will they be available? We'll get them as we can. Who are you hoping to talk to here soon on the Greg Hudson podcast?
Well, I started back with my high school and some names that I thought were common to people. I have reached out to Ken Griffey Jr. We have been texting, and that would be great to have Junior on. And some other important people in my past, besides players, I've talked to Ivan Mizell, who's just a fantastic writer and sports person, who has a story to share, and he'll be good. And also Gary Williams, that most people know from the Golf Channel. Gary's got a great history in the game of golf, and he's the last person to do an interview with Jack and Arnie, together. And he's also got a great, tremendous backstory with the mental health sector, and he's become a good friend. And then from there, I've talked to some head coaches. Sometimes they're easy to get, sometimes they're not, and the schedules are completely insane now. But some guys that have played in the leagues and in other sports, I'm just going to go from A to Z and just keep calling them until they say yes.
It's a fun platform, a way that you can have a nice long form conversation, peel back the curtain a little bit with these guys that have had success, mostly in sports. I'm sure maybe you'll go off the board and have some non-sports guys, but is there anything you're looking forward to really the most with this podcast?
Actually, one thing is the reconnection. If you get to our age, you realize that all the great friends and people you've had come and go in your life, and to have an opportunity to circle back and spend some quality time with them, and to get a story and a personal experience that they may have, which then can translate into maybe helping somebody else that's listening. And that's the thing I get out of the podcast that I listen to. What's the story about? What's the message? And how do I take it? If it's something that impacts me, and I feel it's important, I'm going to transfer that type of attitude and story over to this podcast.
And you mentioned, of course, a lot of the people that you mentioned may be out of sports now, like Griffey Jr. and some of the current, have some current coaches on as well. But a lot of people going through some life change, even like yourself, who's a grandpa now. So a lot of people getting more perspective, not only have raised kids, coach, but now may see another generation of Hudsons or whoever else come up in the world.
Yes, I'm a grandpa. John William is alive and kicking back in Indianapolis, and that could, maybe I should also look at categories of guys that are grandpas and get a little advice from them while they're on the podcast as a guest. But it is a different chapter in my life that started, and it's really exciting. It's becoming a parent again without the anxiety, and that's the one thing I do like about it. But hopefully it's the message that comes clear out of what we're doing and trying to do with the show.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Going to be a part of it as long as you'll have me, and then you can drive the car on your own, I'm sure, just fine. But what's your final message as we leave episode 1 today of what you want people to resonate from today's program, and then going forward, why they should come back?
It's a short message. It's just that there's people out there that will take care of you, that will help you. Don't be afraid to reach out. Sports is a great avenue to live a great life, but there's a lot of other things outside that you can really get into that can make a difference with a lot of people. We're here with a story of hope, a story of staying connected, and a story of people together for a common cause and helping people that are struggling.
The Greg Hudson Podcast, coming to Pirate Radio Digital, Pirate Radio Airwaves. Coach, look forward to seeing you here next time.
Can't wait. Be nice.